What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph Brocast. I'm Matt.
I'm EJ.
All right, we got EJ on the show today.
How's everyone doing?
It's been a crazy past few weeks. As you guys know, I was in the hospital due to a botched root canal, kind of. I don't know if it was botched or not. I want to believe it's botched because I want someone to blame other than myself. Then my body just like shut down on me. Man. Yeah, dude, I don't know what it was. Like, I felt like, I thought it was just me, like, clenching my jaw when I slept at night because I have a tendency to do that, you know? So I went in and I was like, oh, this hurts, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't take an x-ray, you know? They just like, okay, well, let's grind down your teeth and charge you $400 for...
and see what happens.
Right. Right, and it's like, here, let's charge you $400 for a mouth guard, you know? And so I used a temporary mouth guard, and I was like, okay, this ain't working. I called them the next day. They're like, well, let's do an x-ray now. And then they're like, oh, yeah, you need a root canal. And I was, like, super happy that I needed a root canal, you know, as dumb as that sounds, because, like...
What?
Because I wanted the pain to go away. That was the biggest thing.
Okay.
Like, I was so tired of this pain because I've had it for like a week, you know, and I couldn't get any sleep. So finally, they did the root canal. They put in a temporary thing, you know, and like I was feeling okay. But here's the thing: like ever since they changed over the what is it? The hydrocodone to like substance 2 instead of substance 3.
Man, I don't know about your opioids and all this stuff. So.
It is nearly impossible to get any sort of like hydrocodone, some good painkillers or whatever.
Is this going to turn from a podcast to an intervention?
No.
What's happening here? Like, Matt, we need to talk.
So
all these drugs you're taking.
I'm like, what do I take for the pain? They're like, oh, just take Advil take 4 Advil every 4 hours, and then 2 hours later take Tylenol every 4 hours, you know? So it's like 2 hours you're taking Advil, 2 hours you're taking Tylenol, 2 hours you're taking Advil, and so on and so on.
And then 24 hours later you need a new kidney.
Right, I know. And they're like, they said, just keep doing that, and it's basically exactly like a narcotic. It'll work just like a narcotic. So I was doing that for like a day or two, and I finally called them up, and it sucked because it was during a 3-day weekend, the Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, right.
And I called them up, and like they decided to take both Friday and Monday off.
Oh.
So, like, I'm dying, and I was like, hey, this ain't working. You know, I need something a little bit stronger. And they're like, oh, you're fine. You'll just have to deal with the pain. That's exactly what they told me. And so I called them again. You know, I was like, hey, this still ain't working later on in the day. Like, I'm taking way too much Advil and way too much Tylenol, you know? And so they're like, no, sorry, you're just going to have to deal with it.
No,
I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do.
That's something someone says when they're not taking enough Tylenol. Just take the whole bottle and just do it like a shot. Just mouthful, swallow.
Right.
See how you feel later.
Finally,
when you start seeing flying pink elephants, it might be time to stop.
Right? So finally I call them a third time. Like, I'm almost in tears because it's so much pain. Have you ever had jaw pain or like tooth pain or something?
No, I've been lucky, and I've only had like 3 cavities in my whole entire life. And then they were all
that's because you got that beautiful smile there.
I know.
You look like you take care of it. So I finally call them up. I'm almost in tears, and I'm like, please prescribe me something. And so they didn't call me back. I ended up going to like an urgent care, you know, which doesn't cover my insurance or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they called me as I'm walking into the urgent care. They're like, well, we can get you Tylenol with codeine. I'm like, okay, well, that's what the urgent care is giving me, you know? And so then I can't remember. So anyways, I was in a lot of pain. Finally, 2 days later, I called them up. I was like, I'm about to go to the emergency room. You guys need to help me. So he said, okay, come in. Oh, no, my face was all swollen. And I could barely even talk. And so I call him up. I'm like, my face is all swollen. I don't know what to do. And so I came in, and then he jabbed me with a needle. No painkillers, no Novocaine, no nitrous, nothing. Just jabs my gums and sucks out all this pus.
Oh, yeah. We need a rating system for this podcast. Like, don't.
I mean, I'm assuming that's what he's doing because that's what that's what happens when you have a root canal. You just have a big infection there. So anyway, like that is terrible pain. Having to have someone stab you in the jaw like with a needle is
Yeah.
So anyway, later on that day, I start vomiting, and I'm like, I gotta go to the emergency room because this just made it worse.
Yeah.
So I'm in the emergency room. They're pumping me full of morphine, and I still have pain. I'm on morphine, and I'm still in pain.
Yeah.
And so then they let me sit there and get me all hydrated because I couldn't drink anything. I hadn't eaten in probably 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm just laying in the bed. I finally get like maybe an hour of sleep, which felt really nice. But then, like, they said, here's some hydrocodone. Finally, had to go to the emergency room, spend $2,500 for some hydrocodone.
Holy crap.
And they prescribed me that. They pumped me full of antibiotics, and then I go home and I slept for 3 days.
So Matt's fresh out of his hibernation phase.
Yeah, and it sucked because I was like, I told the doctor or the dentist, I was like, dude, I'm going to Disney World on Saturday. I'm gonna eat my way around Epcot. I've already paid thousands of dollars for a meal plan.
Yeah.
I want to be able to eat and enjoy this food.
Oh, right.
And so, sure enough, by like Saturday, by the time I actually left, I could eat food and hold down solid food, and I wasn't taking any hydrocodone or anything. So, geez, I'll tell you, that sucked.
This is great. It's like this podcast is like, come for the C4D and Octane, stay for the pus extraction and vomiting stories. Yeah, this is great. It was funny. So you went to Epcot, right?
Yeah. Well, we went to all of them,
okay.
and Disney World. So so it's been a crazy few weeks. I was planning on being on the episode with Dave and Zubair. I was really excited about that one, but then I ended up in the hospital, and I had to turn away some work that I'd already had booked for like 2 weeks, like a shoot that I had already have booked.
Yeah.
And so, like, I felt really bad about that. But anyway, so I couldn't be on that show. And then the next week, I'm out of town, so they had David filled in for me. So now I'm finally back after what feels like a month with EJ. And Dave's not here.
Yeah, this is your consolation prizes with me.
Hey, that's okay.
That's
I'm
what
totally
happens
fine
after
with that.
the root canal. Here's the podcast root canal is me as your guest.
Here, you guys get to
I'm feeling nauseous
Matt's root
already.
canal with EJ. So, anyway, yeah, okay. So let's do the normal shtick. Brograph is if you guys haven't heard from us, if it's your first time listening, Brograph is a supplement to our site, brograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other MoGraph stuff. On this podcast, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics, Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, and working for the man. All right.
Damn man.
Now, we got that through.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I went to Disney World. Oh, and I gotta say, EJ, congratulations, you're buying a house.
Yeah.
You just bought a house.
Woo! Yeah,
Hashtag
I'm a slave
adulting
to the
hard.
bank now.
Yeah, you are.
No, it's
just wait until they. Go ahead.
It's super weird because I don't like aside from my wife, I don't like commitments, and this is a huge commitment. So I'm like, been talking about like throwing up and stuff. There's a few nights laying awake where I'm fighting down dry heaves and stuff. We're like, like, is this a bad decision? But my wife and my dad are over at the house right now painting while I'm quote unquote working right now. Right. But I will actually work once this podcast is over. But yeah, it's been stressful because you're a freelancer, you got a big mortgage now, and you're taking time away from freelance to get all this stuff done and pack and move. And I don't want my wife to. I mean, my wife's a teacher, so she's got summers off, but.
Heck yeah.
You feel bad because you're like, I'd love to help you, but work and money.
I gotta go work. Yeah.
But
I know.
Yeah, it's
my wife's a teacher too, and she just started summer break.
Oh, okay.
And our kid isn't in daycare during summer.
Right.
So it's like it is weird having the significant others at home.
Right.
For like 2 or 3 months out of the year.
Right. Yeah. Because you try to do stuff like this and. You're just like, shut up in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm doing a podcast here. I'm doing big boy stuff here. I'm talking with Matt. We're making a podcast. Yeah.
What I always find is during the summer, my schedule like changes in order to accommodate the wife and kid being home during the summer.
Oh, really?
Because it's like I'll go to lunch or we'll go and run an errand or something during the day, and I end up working a lot more at night.
Right. When the world is quiet.
Yes, when it's quiet. So, let me ask you a question, and I don't know if this will be too personal or what, but I've been wondering about this, and you're a good source for this because you just bought a house.
Right.
What is it? How difficult is it buying a house when you're a freelancer? Like as far as getting loans and stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, well, everyone's different, I feel like, because I've had some people have a little bit of issues, but I think that was only because they were new to freelance. So I've been freelance for, like 5 years or something like that. So as long as you have like a consistent income and it's not like I made, $60K one year and then $5K the other year. And then, so as long as it's like consistent, and especially if it's like you're taking on more and more clients, you're raising your rates. I think it's all, as long as the bank sees that you're having a steady income, and hopefully if you're freelance, you should be making a decent chunk of change than you would being staff. But having my wife having a full-time job definitely helped a little bit with that.
For sure.
With that stability and working for the same company, I guess, well, not company, but school system for so long. That definitely helped. But I was definitely worried about that. I think the only thing that I noticed was that there was a lot more of like, I needed to provide the last 3 years of taxes. I needed to, this was one of the weird things, because like, as a freelancer, you could be working on a project for 2 months or something. And I don't know how you work things, but like typically you'll get paid at the end of those 2 months. Like it'll be one big lump sum or something. Like, unless you work out like a payment system.
We typically do, if it's a new client that we've never worked with before, we typically do 50% down.
Okay,
and then they pay the rest once it's over.
Yeah, that's
If
great.
it's a client that we've worked with lots of times, we know they're good for it, and we don't worry about it.
That's a really good way to work, because there's a new client that I was working with last month, and one that I've never worked for before, and they had a lot of red flags got set off right from the get-go, but it was like, you know what, this is a big agency, so you know what, and it wasn't like a ton of work, so it was definitely something where if crap hits the fan, I can kind of hit the escape shoot button and just blast off into space and say peace out. But yeah, and that was something where the client was just, so I was working through an agency, the agency was working for this client, and it was one of these things where I'd work on something, they'd be like, we need this now, I'd do it, and then you wouldn't hear back from them for like a week and a half.
I hate that.
That old song and dance, And, then they'd come back with the feedback a week and a half later, turn around like, now when can we see something from you? We need to see something now. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like working on other stuff. Like they told me up front, that the agency did, that this client was kind of took a while to get things going. I was like, okay, that's cool. Just as long as you understand that, like, I'm not going to drop and give you 20 when you say drop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to, like, you're going to be on the back burner, and you got to understand that I'll have other clients coming in and out, and those will be my priorities and stuff like that. And then it just got to the point where now it's been almost like a month since we've even heard from the client, and the agency's at the point where they're like, we haven't heard anything yet, but invoice for the month of like this is back in April, for crying out loud, and like and then May, and they're just like, I'm just invoicing them for each month, and getting a little bit of change right there. But we're going back to I don't know. We went on a really long tangent there, but the one thing that was funny.
I used to have a boss that would say, lack of preparation on your part does not necessitate a emergency on mine.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. I think that needs that. But especially working with an agency, they should know how to wrangle in a client like that. And when I'm giving advice to the agency on how to wrangle in a client, that's like, what are you here for, agency person? Because I'm kind of playing the role of the agency now, like keeping things in check and moving the schedule along. And it's like one of those odd things. It's like, and you do what here? It's like in Office Space. It's like, what exactly do you do here? It's like, well, I'm a good people person. I manage the goddamn people. I'm a good people person. Something like that. But so back to the like getting a mortgage approval and stuff like that. The one thing that was weird for them is like, you know, when you're working on these big long projects, you might not have
income for a
month, and then all of a sudden like, oh, here's $20,000 that goes in your account or something like that after like a 3-month project or whatever you're working on. And that's always like, can we see a copy of that check and all that stuff, and then the taxes thing. And
what Dave and I do, since we run our own company, you know, like we have a company we run together, and we don't pay ourselves per project. Like everything we make goes into our business bank account, and then we pay ourselves dividends, you know, but which is technically, we pay it at the end of the year, quote unquote, but we're actually paying it almost like a paycheck where it's on the 1st and the 15th. So I think that may be a good way to go about it. Like, get your own, you know, for some of the freelancers who are, you know, wanting to be able to show that you're getting a steady income or whatever, having a business account as one, and then paying yourself, you know, on the 1st and the 15th, a certain amount like every month.
Schedule,
so that they can actually see that it's being paid. But I don't know. I'm buying a house next year, you know. So I don't know how well this is going to work out. I'm hoping that it'll work out well.
Well, that's definitely the way to do it, because I think that are you? So I'm an LLC. Are you like a class?
We are an S corp.
S corp.
We're an S corp.
So that's probably best for you guys because you're two people and stuff like that. But yeah, it's something where if you make over, and how I've had it explained to me is if you make a certain amount, or make over a certain amount, that it makes sense to be incorporated like that. Mm-hmm. And I've just been lazy. I've just been like, oh, I'll just stay the LLC, and I don't really. What I really need to do is just get a dang accountant. And I think now with the mortgage thing, and now you can write off like what is it? Like property tax and like any money you paid for points and stuff like that to get a lower.
You're gonna get you will find the amount of money that you're paying in taxes goes down significantly.
That's awesome.
Because you own a house. That is one of having a house. Owning a house and having a kid are two really big write-offs at the end of the year, especially for freelancers.
That's awesome.
You know, so now you just got to have a kid.
one big life change at a time. But I think that was one of the big. And I know a lot of freelancers who, you know, they're younger and they're renting and stuff like that. And I've been renting for a really long time, and it's, you know, I've been renting for maybe 11 years up to this point, and I'm like, imagine if I actually bought. And I'd be a third of the way through a 30-year mortgage, and just like, holy crap. And this whole entire time I've just been setting money on fire. But again, you don't have to, like, now I have to worry about, I hope the roof doesn't cave in on me. Like, I didn't have to worry about honestly, that with rentals.
With owning a house, and I think yours is relatively new, right?
Yeah, it's only like 4 years old or something.
See, you're safe, and the big thing with, like, you know, people worry so much about this stuff. It's going to be small things that break on you. Right. Like, you know, when we bought our first house, we had to buy a new garbage disposal. You know, and then we had to buy a hot water heater. You know, and like some of that stuff, it's relatively cheap or whatever. You just put some money aside, an emergency fund. You know, we have an emergency fund. Used to have an emergency fund, to where basically if that stuff incurs, then you just, you know,
take from there.
A roof isn't going to fall in on you unless you have a tornado.
Right.
You know, and then even if it stays, you know, solid or whatever, or if you have a bunch of hail because you're in Denver.
Well, that's
you know?
that actually just happened like last month. Like $1 billion worth of damage for cars and houses.
And the thing is with like roofs and stuff like that, I never have to worry about a roof. You know, you get someone out there, your insurance will pay for it almost every single time.
Yeah.
And most of the roofers are just trying to get the work, so they'll cover your quote unquote cover your deductible and stuff like that.
Right. It's like, we'll do that work as long as we're getting paid by the insurance company. Well, that's exactly well, while we were going to we went to my parents' place. They just moved to Colorado Springs earlier this year, and they were giving us all this extra furniture they had throughout the years, and we were driving my car to the U-Haul place, and all of a sudden you hear like a tsh, and my wife's like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "What?" It's like, there's a rock that hit the windshield. Now there's a crack in your windshield. I'm like, "No, my car's like less than a year old." Like, no. And then my wife's like, "Oh, it's okay." It's like, because we have USAA insurance, and apparently they get like Safe Light out, and they'll just do a little crack like that for free. So I was
nice.
The thing I immediately think of is like, once you get a mortgage, you start like I'm a crazy penny pincher now, to the point where I'm like, should I really get one more beer? It's like, dude, it's $7. Like, and that's just the stuff I'm like fighting with myself. It's like, dude, you need to calm down. It's gonna be okay. Like, same thing as renting. Like, it's the same money. Now it's just, and it's like, if we end up, hey, buying a house doesn't mean you need to stay in it forever. Like, my parents have moved around so much. The last house they were in before they moved to Colorado Springs, they're only in there for like a year and a half. So it's
me and my wife, like, I learned this from my parents. I guess I picked this up from my parents. We sell our house every 3 years and buy a new house.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, well, right now we're in between, I live with my parents, as I like to say,
Living in my parents' basement.
Living in my parents' house.
This guy's Xbox, his VR system in the basement. Like, shut up. Mom, give me more pizza.
I need more pizza rolls.
Mom, lasagna, now.
So, but yeah, like, we will be in this house for probably 2 years, and then we're going off and buying a new house. Yeah, I don't know. So...
Well, I mean, from what I've heard, and Dallas is a hot market now too. As long as you're in a market that Denver's like crazy, and I think Dallas is probably just as crazy. You're getting to that, like you could, like I'm sure if I decide, don't like this house, if I sell in a year, I could probably break even. Maybe the appreciation.
We sold our house. We bought it in a low market. We sold it when it, about a year ago. Yeah. And we made $45,000.
And how long were you there?
We were on 3 years.
3? Yeah. Wow. That's really
good.
So that
we did really well.
And this is the other thing.
My parents. Here's a good one.
Okay.
I got a good one for you. My parents lived in Nantucket when the market was just at the bottom of where it was. And Nantucket, those houses are really expensive. They bought the house for $500,000, which is a lot of money, right? Sold it for $800,000.
Wow.
When the market, came back up 5 years later.
So they got it in what, 2007 or something?
Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, then this house that I'm living in, like, they paid for in cash.
Wow. It's
nuts. Like completely paid off. That's why it's easy for me to, live in my parents' house.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm like, now I got this house. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I want to like sell because I'm reading all this stuff now. It's like 2019, man. I don't know. Like this house stuff is because it's. You look all around and it's like there's a bubble definitely happening.
There is a bubble. I'm hoping the bubble will pop within the next year once I start buying a house.
Yeah, no. I want it to wait.
I think you'll be safe.
Yeah.
Like the housing prices right now that I've seen, I think they're pretty safe. At least in Dallas. I don't know about Denver.
Yeah, I think Denver was pretty safe from the. They recovered really quickly from the recession because of their market their diversity as far as employment opportunities and stuff. So like they used to be like in the 80s, they were like all like natural resource, and of course like in the early in the 80s when it crashed, like Denver got hit hard. But now it's like they're phasing all that stuff out. A lot of tech companies coming here in Boulder. Google just moved here.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's really good because when the market crashes, it's not like Google's gonna burst into flames or something.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, as a freelancer, there's always that, with this with great responsibility, or with great power comes great responsibility. With a big mortgage comes great responsibility. But it's just one of those things where it's all psychological, because
it is.
The money is the same. The money that I'm paying is the same, maybe a little bit more, but again, like the tax breaks I'm gonna get for it is gonna more than like I'll probably be paying less than the money I'm paying for renting now. But it's just, and that's the thing, it's so psychological. And May was fairly slow for me as far as work, and that kind of punked me out a little bit too. Even though I got like all this stuff I have my website to keep track of, like I got product ideas and things I could be working, but that's all stuff that like that'll pay down the line. And it's like, I need money now so I don't freak the hell out and have dry heaves. Like, ugh.
Do you have, so as a freelancer, do you keep business money separate?
Yeah.
Or does it all just go into your bank account and you're just like, oh, I've got this much money?
No.
Or do you try and keep a set amount in a separate bank account? Like, this is how much I have.
Right. Yeah. So
because when I was freelancing by myself before it was me and Dave, like I went specifically and opened my own business account and threw all my stuff in there, and then was paying myself weekly.
Yeah.
Which getting paid weekly is awesome.
Yeah, and I need to do that, because usually what I'll do, just to cover all my bases and just to be pretty conservative about everything, is when I get paid from a client, I'll just slice it right down the middle. Half of it I'll move into like my tax fund, like that I know I'm going to pay quarterlies with, and then the other half I'll just put in like my business savings, and then I'll take like a percentage out of that or something. So maybe out of that 50%, I'll pay myself 40 or something. So just like that extra 10% is just all backup money, because you always want 6 months, or sometimes some people say like a year worth of salary as a freelancer. I'm like, okay, good luck with that year thing, but 6 months. But then once you put that down payment on that mortgage, and this was also a big psychological thing, because I had a lot of money saved up.
And now took away
that's
most
like
of that.
all in a mortgage down payment, and now that backup money's, it's still enough, but it's a lot less now. So it's like I can't just like, hey, let's do a month-long trip to Europe and woo, who cares? Like now it's like, should we really do that? But it's a new feeling, not having as much backup money as you used to. Having to now not only have that backup money for freelance, but that backup money, like you said, for like whatever repairs you need. And that was kind of the reason why I was like, no, I'll just buy a fairly new house so I don't have to worry about all that crap.
Really, like as far as like money put aside for like emergency stuff for your house, and I'm a big proponent of listening to Dave Ramsey, on his like whole financial get out of debt stuff. Yeah. I don't follow it very well, but so he always says have at least $1,000 into an emergency fund and stuff, which is what I normally try and do. I normally keep $1,000 in my bank, to cover any sort of like emergency that's coming up, like if something goes wrong in the house, or if my car breaks down, or if I have to go to the hospital, or something that happens. You've always got that money, and then you can just fill it up, fill it back up. Anyway. But yeah, congratulations on the house.
Yeah, but and that's actually really smart. And the one thing, the Dave Ramsey I've listened to a bunch of times, and I think the one thing as far as saving goes that is really important. What me and my wife do is we just have like a bank of internet account or something like that, and we just have like every month, or maybe twice a month, it just pulls like $50 from our accounts, and we don't even think about it. Because if you don't think about it and it's automatic, you're not going to worry about it at all. It's just going to happen, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh yeah, we have that $1,000 already that we totally forgot about. And if you don't think about it, like you budget when because you don't even remember that. Oh yeah, that $50 got taken out, and it's like, oh well, whatever.
Yeah. So we've been doing that 2 years ago. We started doing that with our kid, like $25 out of each of my paychecks. You know, $50. So $50 a month. You know, for 2 years, and like all of like birthday money or Christmas money that he gets. I mean, he's 4. He doesn't need all that money. You know, we throw it into his bank account. Dude, the kid's got $3,500 in his bank account now.
Holy crap.
After 2 years.
I don't think I had $3,500 until I was like 5 years ago.
I don't even have like $3,500.
You can get like one of those mini Mercedes-Benz like little battery powered
wheels
car things.
The power wheels. He's rolling up.
Yeah, he's got like Monopoly money. Like, what's up, y'all?
But
I got the best. I got the best training wheels ever. Gold-plated training wheels.
We were doing the math, and like it's like, dude, he'll have enough money for, you know, at least a state school whenever he graduates college or whatever, just from throwing that $50 in or whatever extra money he gets from birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that, which is cool.
Totally.
So, anyway. But yeah.
So money,
All right.
Money, important thing. Make it automatic. Don't think about it, because I know for me, because what you'll do is like, oh, should I put this money in that savings? And that's why we got the Bank of Internet, so we actually don't even see it. Like, I never check into that.
Tell me
account
about the
all.
Bank of the Internet. I've had another buddy like use it, and he liked it or something.
Yeah.
Does it?
It's like no fees because they don't have like a physical location or anything like that.
Right.
So it's all.
Do they have any perks? You know, because
I don't know. I mean,
is there?
We don't have like a. Well, I think my wife kind of takes care of that account, and I think they give you like a debit card or something like that. And I don't know if you get any rewards or anything like that. That's a good question. I'm sure.
See, we just switched over. We just switched over to like a Citibank 2% cash back card.
Oh, nice.
You know, and I started paying everything on that. So like in 1 month, we made $50.
Nice.
You know, just for buying stuff and paying our bills.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
and we
do the
pay
same
that
thing.
stuff off immediately.
Yeah.
So it's like all that extra money just goes straight into, you know, an account or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I also started doing that with Amazon. Amazon, like their credit card, it's a 5% cash back
on
for
anything
Amazon.
on Amazon?
As long as it's Amazon Prime, they give you 5% back.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, into an Amazon gift card. So like I maybe only spent $200, but like I got like $12,
right.
You know, just for buying stuff that I would normally buy on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, save up, people.
Yeah.
Don't be broke.
Okay, cool. So I went to Disney World.
Yes.
And
the happiest
you know,
place on earth.
Happy.
Unless you get eaten by an alligator.
Oh, it was so sad.
That was bad.
Yeah. That one, that kid who got attacked by the alligator, my kid was the same age.
Oh, really?
You know, and that one actually hit us pretty hard.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, we love Disney World. We love that place. And then, you know, it's a place that you want to take our kid.
Right.
And so then while we stayed at Port Orleans Riverside, which is, they have signs all over the place saying alligators, alligators, alligators. So I'm like freaking out, like thinking that we're going to encounter an alligator the entire time we were there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, so are those alligators that just natively go to that body of water? And yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw one while we were on the drive to like Epcot one day. I saw one just sitting out in a lake somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and like you can't even tell. They just look like moss,
yeah.
like floating in the lake. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we went to the Everglades once, and they have this one park that's known for like just this little pond or lake or whatever with all these alligators. They have this raised wooden walkway you can go and do, like the alligators will be right under your feet,
Jeez.
You know, right underneath the deck thing. And you know, as you're walking to it, it's just a path with some little drainage ditches on the side. And there'll be like alligators floating in that little shallow water too. And there's people with their kids like just being stupid. Like just letting their kids get close and like are taking a picture. Like people do not. And we see the same thing when we go to like Rocky Mountain National Park and there's these giant elk. And people are like, oh, those little cute big deer. It's like, no, they'll F you up, man. Like they're huge. And these people, they do not respect. They do not respect the animal at all. And you see that so much. Like, these people would have got eaten real quick back in, caveman days. Like, you would, Darwin's Law is coming down hard on you, man. But, it's just crazy. But that's funny that you have to worry about alligators at Disney World.
Yeah.
too. Damn.
Yeah, you would think that they would do something. So this is so that will bring me on to another thing that, like, one of my irks about Disney World while I was there. But anyway, like, while I was there, like, so before the trip they send you these little bands, those are your tickets inside.
Oh,
they're just little bracelets.
The ones with the little RFID sensor or whatever.
Yeah. So, like, what's cool is, like, you've got that. So, like, that's how you get into the park, and you can actually pay for everything. So you actually don't need your wallet the whole time. Yeah. It's awesome.
Like, I'll
so
buy
it's
a
linked to your
steak.
credit card. So, you don't realize how much you're actually spending,
That's
and then you
exactly
get the bill
what
at
they
the
want
end,
you
and
to
you're
do,
like,
man.
oh, it's so
like, it's just a
expensive.
bracelet. This isn't actual real money.
This is not, it's like it's like fun money.
It's a $10,000 plastic bracelet I'm wearing. All of a sudden.
So, but what's also cool is that it's got some sort of, like, I want to say it's like the same stuff that, like, toll tags have, where it's like long distance RFID or something like that. The long distance. And so there's this one ride. It's the new one that they opened called the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Okay.
And so while you're riding on it, they're taking pictures. So you get the pictures like you normally do on any other ride. But when you exit the ride, there's no place to, like, look at your pictures or buy it or whatever. And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, they must have sent us through the wrong way.
Yeah.
Well, we bought this thing called Memory Maker, which, there's always photographers there, and they just introduced it like a year or two ago, and it's only like $100, but anytime, you see a photographer, you can say, hey, take my picture, and then it automatically uploads to your Memory Maker. And so you get these pictures. Yeah, so, like, you get all the different, parks and stuff, like, quote unquote professionals, because trust me, they are not professional photographers.
They're just interns that are like, here's a camera.
Man, they are sometimes old people who just want to take pictures and just want a job.
It's like giving a Walmart greeter a camera and be like, go nuts.
Absolutely. That is a great explanation of what it is. Yeah. So, like, some of the pictures are just terrible. Some of them are okay, but you get them all for free, so it doesn't really matter. Well, I mean, you pay the one price,
right.
So what's crazy is while you're on this ride and they're taking pictures, like, it can read your band on your hand, and then automatically uploads it to your Memory Maker.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I'm walking through the park after that ride, and I'm like, oh, how did these pictures show up? How did they automatically know that was me in this? And it's all because of that little band that you wear.
That's nuts.
So, like, they can track you everywhere in the park, which is crazy.
You know what the funny thing about those rides that take your pictures and you pay a certain amount to actually get the picture? People, and, like, I never thought of this before until I started seeing it all over the place, is that when they show that picture on the screen and you look at yourself, you're like, oh, you look like a dummy, what people do is then just take a cell phone photo of that image on that screen. So it's like, I don't need to buy that now. I took a picture of that picture on the screen. And so, like, no one, like, that business must have just ran into the ground. So that's actually pretty smart how Disney did that, because they probably, like, no one was buying that stuff. Like,
no one wants to buy the pictures, and the thing was, like, you would always carry, back in the day, like 3 years ago, you would carry your camera around with you, or you'd hand them your smartphone, because the people who are taking pictures, it's not easy enough just to say, hey, do you mind taking one on my cell phone, or taking one on my camera? And they're like, yeah, sure, because that's what Disney, they want to have this, like, happy whatever world where, you don't have to worry about it. And they're nice. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'd love to, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
But it's like they found a way to really make money, because everyone's going to be buying that, because everyone doesn't want to have to deal with the hassle of saying, hey, can you take a picture on my camera, or even carrying around a big camera like that. No one wants to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was cool though, and it was really nice. And you could just download all your pictures as you're going, and you get the pictures within a couple minutes, like right on your phone. Super cool.
Right.
So, but they just so, like, Disney World, when I go there, I have a hard time disconnecting from, like, regular life, because there's so much technology and so much like, you know, video stuff and projection mapping, and that I always I kind of hate myself for it, like, but anytime I go on a new ride and see a new attraction, I'm always trying to figure out how they do it, you know? And so like they just stopped the last they just had the final wishes, you know, fireworks show and stuff, and they've started this new one where they're doing projection mapping onto the castle, you know, and like that's cool, you know. I know you've done some projection mapping stuff. We've done some projection mapping stuff, and it's like, so as someone within this industry who's seeing this stuff, like I am picking it apart.
Oh no!
And I am so like the number one thing that really bugged me is that a lot of like it felt low resolution, you know, like I really wanted to see a little slightly higher resolution, but maybe I was just standing too close to the castle.
Well, it's almost like it's Disney. Like, come on, Disney. Like, we know
that's
you can
what
afford
I'm saying.
like 4K projectors or 8K or
absolutely whatever. That's what I'm saying. It's like you just canceled Wishes, which has been around for like 10 years, and you're going to continue this new projection mapping castle experience for probably the next 10 years, and it needs to be awesome and amazing. And one of the biggest things that bugged me about it was they would just take 2D, like so they brought in all the characters onto the castle and had them interact and stuff, and the newer 3D characters like Buzz and Woody, or what they brought all the Finding Nemo characters in, you know, everything looked really crisp because they've got all these 3D characters, right? But for the old 2D characters, like they had the worst one I saw was the Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? He's like swinging around the castle and singing his song, and it looks terrible, like low resolution. Was all
it like
they did,
rotoscoped or something?
It was all just rotoscoped like from the movie.
Rotoscoping.
Well, it's like it's. I
30,
mean, you're
30
not,
pixel blurred edge on the roto.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god.
So you're working like it's like. It's not like you're a half-ass company, you know, trying to project something onto a screen.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't have a lot of money in order to put forth to this stuff. I mean, Disney World probably makes, you know, millions of dollars in a day.
Right.
You know? So, like, why can't you just get one of your animators to draw the characters, you know, and actually animate them?
Space, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of rotoscoping some 2D characters and like, because he's swinging and you can see that they just in After Effects, you know, did a tween, you know, between the motion and stuff like that. And it's like, that looks it's so
like the
bad.
Trailing and stuff like that.
Right,
it's like
exactly.
15
it's like
frames
just
per second.
Just get some of your animators in order to like make this look good, because you know you're not just doing this for the kids,
right?
You're doing it for the adults too, and the adults can see that stuff, and they'll wonder why is this look so crappy? Why doesn't it?
Well,
I don't know. Maybe my wife didn't notice it at all. Maybe
though, like they go to movies, they see the high quality stuff. I think their tastes are maybe, I would argue, even better than some adults, because some of these adults, they're so far removed that they probably look at the crappy roto and was like, oh, cool. Like, they wouldn't even see the difference. But these kids are like, they're in the world of VR and watching 3D movies all the time. Like, they probably have better eye for that stuff than the older people, you know?
Yeah.
So I would argue that they should be even more on top of that, especially Disney, just because of how high quality a lot of their rides are and stuff like that.
That's the thing. It's like, you've got Disney money.
Yeah.
You're like one of the biggest companies in the world.
Right.
You know, you're going to be having this thing shown forever.
Right.
Why not just spend the little extra money in order to get good animation, not crappy animation?
Yeah.
Make it high quality. Make it amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's funny though, because I don't know if you popped on over to Universal or what's the used to be MGM Studios that's in
Disney Hollywood
Studios now.
Yeah, but we went to all four of the different parks.
Yeah,
you know.
I remember in Universal, We went on like the Terminator ride, and like it's supposed to be all futuristic, and it was all made in like the 90s.
Yeah.
And you know, they actually got some of the actors from that movie, so it's not like they can really update that. Right. Unless they really change it up, or they just update it to one of the new movies or something like that. But everything looks so awful. And it wasn't even like cool retro stuff. Like I think like the new Star Wars, they repurposed that really cool like HUD elements and stuff from the originals. That's still like, that's like a super, like, it's almost like the Tron stuff where you're like, that still holds up. That still looks pretty cool, even though it's like kind of vintage looks. But this one was just like awful. And it's like, we're going to put in the CD-ROM and try this. We got a virus on our CD-ROM. It's like, that doesn't really work like that, but cool, whatever.
I went to Universal a few years ago.
I'm going to get the 16 megabyte disk drive out. And like, whoa, okay.
That's funny. We had done E.T. Okay. And that is such a crappy ride. And like we were one of the last ones to ride Jaws when they still had Jaws around. And it's like, it wasn't too bad. It was way better than E.T., but gosh, E.T. was terrible.
I don't think I definitely didn't see E.T. when I was there. They still had Jaws when I was there, and the best part was just because like the drivers, they have to do a lot of acting. And they really had, this guy was like playing it up, and it was just so cheesy that I was paying more attention on our like boat driver guy. Like, oh gosh, here's the Jaws, oh good. Like, whoa, Captain Magoo here? What's going on?
That's funny.
Oh, we got bit. Oh, our power's out. I got radio back to the station. Like, whoa.
That's funny.
That was hilarious.
So, another thing, like they've got a lot of rides that are 3D now. You know, like they just opened the Avatar world. You know, the Avatar land.
Is that a whole thing?
It's a whole like area in the Animal Kingdom park, which Animal Kingdom is one of my favorite parks. You know, it is a very, very cool park, but I feel like it's just so stupid that they built this whole Pandora. Like, what's the point of like, you know, of bringing the Pandora world to Disney? It's almost like they should have done something themselves, you know?
Right.
I don't understand. Like, I also don't understand the fascination with Avatar. Like, why is it such a good movie?
Well, they're really... I don't know either. I think they're just really banking on because they already signed up for, what, 2 or 3 more after this? Like,
2. I know at least 2.
Yeah, they're making both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So, like... But, yeah, as a property, like... I don't know anyone that's like, I watched it once in 3D and I was like, holy crap. And that was like when 3D movies were a novelty. Like that was probably the first one that was made for that format. And it was amazing because you haven't experienced it before. But now it's like, you know, I just watched freaking Beauty and the Beast in 3D and it's like whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I personally hate 3D movies. I think it's all a gimmick. And like, I hate having to watch, I don't know. So the 3D stuff in Disney World, like you've got these professionals who are actually doing this stuff every day. You know, you have an entire studio at your disposal. Why can't you make some of these 3D or update some of these 3D videos? Because they just look bad. Like Mickey's PhilharMagic, like it's okay. And like the Muppets in 3D,
yeah,
some of it's okay, but like when they try and like put it right in your face, you know, and cause you to go cross-eyed and get a headache because of it, it's like some of the 3D works because they're not trying so hard to make you focus on one thing, but some of it does not at all. It just makes it hurt.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like, does it put you in an environment, or is it so obnoxious that takes you out of the moment, you know?
Absolutely. You know, and so like it's like a lot of that stuff. It's like the technology has gotten better, and the way of doing some of this stuff has gotten better. That they need to update some of their stuff.
Right.
You know, I don't know, but one thing that I was totally super impressed with. There's a new area, like right when you walk in, where you can go and visit Mickey Mouse. You know, get your picture taken with Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Did you do it? How long ago did you go?
Well, I went to the one in LA with a buddy of mine.
Okay.
And got a picture with Mickey. And it was like,
was it the talking Mickey?
No, there's a talking Mickey.
Mickey talks now.
Oh no!
Like he actually talks and actually blinks his eyes.
So he's like the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic kind of stuff.
No, not even at all. Like it looks so realistic.
Oh.
It's like an actual Mickey costume person.
Yeah.
But the mouth actually moves with what he's saying.
Oh wow!
It is insane. You should look it up online because it is so cool. So like, from what I hear, like my buddy works for Disney World, doing all the backstage tours and stuff like that. And he was telling me they've got like cameras there, and there's someone off site who is like listening and looking at the entire like what's going on and listening to the conversations. And so then they input what they want Mickey to say, in order to go along with what the people are asking. It was incredible. I was so impressed because there was a girl from Brazil who was standing at the front of the line, and someone asked, "Oh, where are you from?" And she said, "Oh, I'm from Brazil," And then Mickey comes up and Mickey goes, "Oh, you're from Brazil. Oh, I know a little bit of Portuguese." And then he starts speaking in Portuguese,
What?
and it was so impressive. My kid had done the pirates. It's called like the pirate lair or pirate something, where he gets to go and dress up like a pirate and stuff, and so when he showed up, Mickey said, "Oh, it's Jake it's Captain Jake the pirate, blah blah blah, Oh, it's so great to see you." And then my kid watches Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and Gibson was like, "Oh, this is the hot dog dance," and then Mickey starts singing the hot dog dance music, and it's so cool. It was so cool to like that. To me is like Disney magic.
Oh, yeah.
That is impressive to make it, both the kids and the adults go, "Oh my gosh, how are they doing this?" Then I go and try and figure it out, of course.
Yeah.
But my kid, we were standing in line and he sees Mickey Mouse talking. He turns around to me and he goes, "He's actually talking."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that feels so good. That's a good memory right there.
Well, that's a new thing, because if you wanted talking anything, it was like the creepy the animatronic Abraham Lincoln or something that was just or there were just mute people walking around skipping and dancing and weren't able to say anything, which you would think for a kid that would be really weird. I don't remember. I went to Disney for the first time when I was 3 years old, so I don't remember very much. But I don't know. I think it was scary because they didn't talk, and they were just this big person in a suit coming up to you, not saying anything. "Get away from me, creepy Pooh Bear! What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah,
but if they're
last
"Hey,
year,
what's your name?" That's a little bit more approachable for a young kid like that. Except for "Oh my God, here comes Eeyore! That freak of nature's coming over here, and he's not saying anything. He's just walking over."
Yeah, my kid was was scared of all of them last year when we went to Disneyland.
Yeah.
But he once he warmed up to them near the end and finally met Pooh Bear and Eeyore and Tigger and stuff.
When
they weren't talking.
Yeah.
And then this year he was all in. He was so excited to meet everyone, which was good that we weren't just going there.
So is Mickey the only one who talks?
Mickey is the only one that talks.
Everyone else
as of
is
right
a mute.
now.
Everyone else is a mime.
Everyone else is a mute.
Yeah.
Yes, we had many a mute. We met many a mute.
But you gotta wonder if the plan is to update all that stuff.
I mean, I would think so eventually, but then you've got to get he's in his own specific room that you go to.
Right. Yeah. So it's almost like he's the ride or whatever. That's the experience. Yeah.
So you would need to somehow, especially if you've got the characters wandering around the area or just wandering around the park or being in specific parts, you've got to be able to incorporate that as well.
Yeah.
But the answers, a lot of the things that he were saying were very generic,
Yeah.
So could work with anything. It's "Oh, what's your name?"
Yeah.
And then they say their name, and then instead of him saying their name back, it's "Oh, it's so great you came here,"
Well, actually,
or something
what?
that.
I've seen videos like that at Universal, and I think the Transformers little area. They have Transformers that come out and they talk to you. But I think that probably works better for the generic stuff because it's a freaking robot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if it sounds robotic, well, it's a robot. So they can kind of get away with that kind of stuff. But they do like answer questions on the fly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
very cool.
That delay that you get when you talk to Alexa or something like that. Like it's okay to have that delay and like I'm thinking.
Yeah. We met Kylo Ren. You know, they had Kylo Ren and Chewbacca and BB-8 and stuff there.
Oh, cool.
And so we got to meet Kylo Ren. My kid loves Kylo Ren. I don't know why. Hopefully he doesn't kill me.
Oh, God. Yeah. Starts run around trying to hit you in the butt with a lightsaber.
But he talked as well, which was cool. You know, I mean, he had the mask on, man, I guess they had a bunch of these, because Kylo Ren talked, but I don't know if that was actually someone talking or whether it was like actual, you know, recorded.
Yeah.
But Star-Lord and Groot were there as well.
Man, that's awesome.
It was Baby Groot.
Oh,
you
really?
know? And so he's like sitting on this little table and he's, you know, animatronic and just saying, I am Groot the whole time.
Yeah.
But like he would answer it in ways that like someone would say, oh, blah, blah, blah. And he'd go, I am Groot, you know?
Yeah.
And then at one point, Star-Lord makes this like joke. He's like, oh yeah, you want to listen to my headphones, Groot? And he puts it on Groot and Groot like starts like, rocking back and forth with his head and stuff like that. It was so cool. Like, and Star-Lord looked nothing like Star-Lord.
Oh, really?
He didn't look anything like Chris Pratt.
So they're doing the whole...
a dude with a beard.
Oh, because he didn't have his mask on?
Yeah, he didn't have his... I was thinking he would have his mask on.
Yeah, he should have his mask on. And you got to worry about it.
Yeah.
Like when it's Chris Pratt, like, come on. Yeah, like, people are going to be looking for him. It's not like Cinderella where it's a cartoon character, so it's like, all right, whoever's wearing the Cinderella dress and blonde hair or whatever, that can get away with it.
Yes. Yeah.
But so they were in the, because I know they're expanding the heck out of the Star Wars space, and that's going to be really interesting to see what kind of technologies they do for that.
Yeah. So Disney Hollywood Studios, you know, like basically they're trying to. I think Disney's trying to get to the point where it's not a. They hate people saying, "Oh, this is a half-day park." You know, like this is only a half-day park, and MGM's or Hollywood Studios is totally a half-day park,
right?
You know, so that's why they're building. They're building Star Wars Land, which I think is opening in 2019, and they've got Toy Story Land as well that they're building in that same area, which is going to have a big Slinky Dog ride.
That's awesome.
And a couple of other things.
Because they're coming out with a new Toy Story. Did you know this?
Yeah, they're doing Toy Story 4, I believe.
Yeah.
And Cars 3 comes out Friday.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting.
Can we talk so we can get kind of divert this back to like 3D in a way? But I was just reading an article about how Pixar has kind of fallen off the cliff. Like there was this time where now it's like all the good properties and the all original properties are Disney. Like 3D wise, like Frozen, Big Hero 6.
Yeah. I loved Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
We got to meet Baymax. That was fun.
What's the other one? But then Pixar is like The Good Dinosaur. Like I haven't even seen that yet. Like I used to watch every single Pixar movie.
Because you knew it was going to be a good one. Yeah, because you knew it was going to be good.
Yeah, and now it's like, I forget even the last one I saw in the theaters. It might have been like Up or something. But I haven't seen, like they had Brave. That was Pixar, right?
I saw Brave in the theater and I wasn't a huge fan. I haven't seen it again since. Didn't see, I bought The Good Dinosaur just to watch it because I guess I had like a free coupon or something. And I only got like 2/3 of the way, maybe halfway through, and I was just like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's the whole
Toy Story 3 was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the whole carification
Toy Story 3 was
of
awesome.
Pixar, where it's like all of these new properties. Like I actually like the Inside Out. I think that was it. Where it's all the emotions personified, which was pretty cool. I would say that's probably the best. That was like Pixar kind of being Pixar. Like back to being Pixar. Like I haven't seen the second Finding Dory or something Dory.
Finding Dory was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was Yeah, it was. That was a good movie.
And I saw.
I thought that one was a good one, but it's like, just stay away from the sequels.
Yeah.
You know. But it's like sequels are cash cows.
Right.
You know, how can you say no to a sequel that's going to make you $1 billion?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think
like
that's why the article was spurred. I guess the guy wrote it because of after the announcement of Toy Story 4, and it's like, come on. Like Toy Story 3 ended. It was such a good movie.
It was
like
such a good ending.
Misty.
Yeah.
Got me all misty. I got the vapors. and I think they just laid it out perfectly, because it's crazy that you think that the first one came out in
was it 99
99
or something?
So like I was 17 when I saw that, and like you can imagine being a kid that saw that when they were like 10 or 12, and then the Toy Story 3 came out a good 15 years, 16 years after that. So it's like, if you're growing up along with that film, like that's got to be awesome. Like, especially the last one where the kid's going off to college or whatever.
Yeah.
And like a lot of these kids that grew up with that movie are doing the same thing. So I think you brought that along, but I wonder if they're kind of like how what they're doing with Star Wars, where they're like resetting everything. Like they're almost redoing this to tap into the younger kids and not so much play for the adults. I mean, there's still that nostalgia there, but
from what I hear, Toy Story 4 is supposed to be more of a love story.
What?
Which, I know, seems dumb, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It like seems... Toy Story Spring Break, because they're still trying to cater to the college kids. It's like, hey, it's Jimmy the Bomb.
That's funny. Yay. What's going on, man? I don't know. But even like I was excited about Cars 3, but it's only gotten 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's like, really? This is a Cars movie. This is like a staple of Pixar, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, even the first one was like, eh. And then the second one was like the Tokyo Drift version or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the third one's like, Cars 3. Yes, we're still doing this.
Yes, we're still doing it.
We're still selling toys.
My kid's excited about it, and he's already bought some toys, so I guess it's working.
So it's working. That Disney magic's still working.
Yeah. Oh, did you know? So I read an article. I don't know where I saw this, but so Pixar has created its own like division that is specifically focusing on shorts.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I can't remember where I saw that, but I think that's super cool, because I think that the thing that Pixar still has going for it is that its shorts are always still really good.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you get a whole bunch of different talent coming in and creating these different shorts for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
like,
that's
Paperman was one of the ones that like really hit me, because that was all it looked like traditional animation, but it was 3D. Yeah. And they
really?
And they had his name's escaping me, but they had one of the guys who used to work at Disney at Blendfest, and
really?
He was one of the guys who he was showing that whole process on how like they want you to pitch on some kind of concept like every so often, like maybe every month you're like pitching all these short ideas, and then some of those short ideas might get made into movies later on, which I think is how they like their little incubator. Like that's kind of how they come up with new ideas and pitch new themes. And
so you're basically saying to your employees, hey, give us your ideas,
right?
And then maybe we'll make them into a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But then we'll write them ourselves.
Well, a lot of it, like the Paperman, that was a lot of not only like a new concept or new kind of story to tell, but there was a lot of new technologies and new shaders and stuff that went into that development, which I think is interesting too. And I almost think that for maybe Pixar, it seems like every movie's tied to some like technological advancement with 3D. Like I remember Frozen. I agree. They were going nuts. Like the Pixar people were going nuts with. And I'm not sure if Pixar like does the development stuff and Disney, like the Disney studios, and they kind of share development or whatever. But they were showing all those like snow dynamics tests and stuff, which were really really cool.
Which is super cool.
Yeah, but And then like for Finding Nemo, when that first came out, it was like all the underwater kind of and the looks like that and the water dynamics.
The Piper short, they were just showing off, how they used like a scatter in order to do all the individual little, sand things, which is crazy. Yeah. That everyone had to do, after that.
But it's amazing. I think for anyone who thinks their reel sucks, they should go back and see like the creepy baby Pixar tests from back in the day that were just like
no, that was a short.
Yeah.
That was a whole short.
Yeah,
that was super creepy.
Yeah, it was really creepy and it was really bad. But I think it's crazy how much. I mean, there was probably a lot of technical stuff just to pull that off, like just to animate like a character. And now it's like. I just think it's crazy how much people have to digest to, yes, you need to know how to animate, and animating a character is super easy, but there's so many added things like particle systems for fire and snow systems. You gotta learn that and like cloth and like muscle stuff. Like now I'm seeing like all this realistic like muscle movement kind of stuff.
I've seen a couple of like videos on some people who were doing like muscle movements and how like it would like squash and stretch and stuff like that instead of like just like bending in. Yeah, that looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean it's like once the talent keep up with a certain technology, that technology takes another jump that you got to then reach that bar. And it's always like I remember when I was working at a local news station at ABC, and we were working in SD for so long, and it was getting to the point where the computers we bought to handle the SD stuff were bogging down. So then we bought new computers. This was like early 2000s, and the SD. Like, you were making stuff in SD, and things are just taking a long time to render out of After Effects or something like that. And then we finally convinced our company to buy us new computers for our department, and then it was like we had a good 6 months where we were pumping out like SD renders, and then that's when the switched over to HD movement came, and then everything started slowing down again back to before we had these new computers. So it's like always that kind of cyclical nature where it's like I bought this new computer, man, it's cranking out this stuff. Like Octane. It's like now we can crank all this stuff out, but guess what? Octane's going to put out like all this new stuff and more render intensive things, and then you're going to need to buy 10 more cards to handle all that stuff because you now have all this wide open prairie of rendering power. And so it's almost it's funny because we have our empty house and our garage is completely empty, and it's like there's always this thing where everyone seems to have enough crap to fill up every single space in their house. And it's kind of like the same thing with rendering power. It's like you will add stuff into your scene to bring it to a halt just to reach that point. Like, because you're just going to keep putting things in, adding more. Let's put in more samples in there and see how, and just hit that limit. And and that's always going to happen and push the technology and stuff. And I just find that really, really interesting. See where things are going to go.
I can't remember where I heard it, but there's a there's Moore's law that basically, there's another one that is more focused on like rendering time and like actual like speed, where it's saying, while you've got Moore's law that's going to, exponentially get faster and faster, or double the speed every year or whatever, you've got another principle that also says while this stuff is getting faster and faster, your render time is going to stay the same, right? Because you're going to be able to throw so much more at it, or because there's so much more computations that it's going to have to take. Right. I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Still waiting on so I ordered
I was going to ask you about this. I would like to hear. You're still waiting on it?
Yeah, the eGPU. So when I ordered it, I didn't realize that you're actually just pre-ordering it, and that's supposed to come in July.
What?
Yeah. So apparently there's a new eGPU, a Keto box thing that's coming out. So I was like,
a Keto box.
All right, do I want to and to buy it on Amazon right now? is really expensive because places like B&H Photo.
Did you buy the Aikido Thunder 2 or did you buy the Bison box?
So what I'm doing is I think I'm just going to cancel my order and see what happens and see what comes out, because it was for the Thunderbolt 3. And then I heard that you could actually get the Thunderbolt 3 to 2 adapter, and then it'll work with because now that the Mac Pros I'm still rocking the Mac Pro.
That's all right.
It updated the OS updated to support all that stuff. So, because I remember Bart was saying that he had to. Bart from Already Been Chewed. He was saying that he had to take his back, and then he said but he had a Bison box. He didn't get a Kikyo.
Yeah.
So
well, see little do you know. Actually, I believe the Bison boxes are Aikido boxes.
Oh.
You know, so Bison buys a bunch of these Aikido boxes and then hacks them to where they will run, specifically for Mac.
Well, apparently they're not doing a good job. Because Bart had it. Bart just gave up with it. But I know.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I think he just gave up. He was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get the old PC laptop or something for home. I don't know. Man. But that's kind of soured him even more on the whole Mac thing. But I'm still holding on hope, because I know myself, and I know if I don't buy this eGPU, like I'm not gonna, like I just bought a house, I'm not gonna drop $5,000 on a PC setup already.
Right.
You know, like
I think that's probably a responsible idea.
So it's like I know me. Decision. I know the fastest way to get me to using Octane is just do the eGPU solution, and I'm not gonna wait because we have these tendencies, and this is a little bit different, but it's like for me drawing, I'm like, oh, I should draw more, blah 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 blah. Well, you know what? I'll buy an iPad Pro, and I'll draw on that, or I'll buy a Surface tablet or whatever. Like I need to buy something in order for me to do this one thing. So I feel like this is kind of meeting halfway. It's like, well, yes, I need to buy something to do Octane. Like I can't just hack something together, but it's not full blown doing the PC thing where I'm like, well, I have to get this. Like, no, you don't have to get that to do it. So I'm kind of meeting myself halfway with that thing, and
I hope it works. I really do. I hope it works.
If it doesn't, I'll take it back too, and I don't know. I know a bunch of people out there that are still, staying strong with their Mac Pros, and I know we can go to the Apple announcement stuff since we're Apple
did the
iMac Pro.
Apple,
that's coming out,
Apple
but that's just kind of like I don't know. I mean, it's still got AMD, and I know there's a lot of people out there that just hope that it's not going to matter what kind of card you have anymore.
Right. Like, and see, that's where I'm thinking, like, what I'm thinking eventually, I think all these render engines eventually will probably say, we know that you have a lot of choices. Some people are GPU, some people are CPU. We need to be as fluid as we can on all of these, and I know Octane's been talking about doing that forever, and they haven't released anything yet. Supposedly, I think 3.07 is supposed to have this, but who knows? Who knows when that's going to come out? But I know the AMD ProRenderer or whatever is supposed to give you the ability to do CPU as well, and who knows? Because if jump into Ravcock, what's your flavor? Real quick. So AMD they tweeted out, and I saw this retweet by Maxon. They tweeted out that the AMD ProRenderer was running on R19. And so that was kind of the first little bit that we've seen of R19. And I don't know if AMD ProRenderer is supposed to be like, I think it's native inside of R19.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it is. Because AMD's just giving it away for free for 3ds Max and for Maya, so why wouldn't they just include it if it's going to be free anyway?
Just gonna build that in, so that's going to be like their internal GPU render solution. So it's like a step above physical render. And I've done a few tests, but I just don't have anything to compare it to right now because that's the only the only GPU render I've used so far. But I mean, it's definitely for people out there who, have a Mac Pro or they just can't afford. And there's been we just put out a tutorial today on Eyedesyn.com that David Ariew just finished on creating futuristic cities using Octane scatter and volumetrics and stuff. And he's got
the
now
pictures on that
3 or 4 Octane tutorials on it. They're all amazing. Like I'm watching them as he's giving them to me, and I can't wait to get into Octane and start doing this stuff just because he just demystifies so much. And the stuff you guys are doing too with the Octane is just all that knowledge is now out there, which is super awesome that everyone's putting some really killer tutorials out, because my learning curve is going to be a lot less than you guys, where you guys are the ones kind of wading through those waters and what's this do? And it's kind of like me with Sketch and Tune, where it's like no one's done that, but now that you do that, now everyone's like, oh, okay, we all know how to use everything.
Now we know how to do it because of EJ.
But there's been so many comments on like my YouTube channel where people are just like, and especially people who are like at studios or something, like it's a big cost to get Octane. And even with their like $20, is it $20 a month for Octane VR, which is their like subscription model kind of thing. Yeah. And, for those same people, it's hard to get a company on a subscription plan. So I can only imagine how many companies struggle to get, just because all the bureaucracy that you have to go with a corporation to get things approved. And it's easier to get approved like at the end of a quarter or something, let alone like a subscription-based thing that's pulled every month. So, it's not that expensive, but that's one thing people have really talked about.
It depends on what you're buying.
Yeah. So like I think
you can make it cheap and buy it. Like you can be up and running Octane for $200, right. I'd say.
Yeah, totally.
If you're buying a cheap NVIDIA card and the subscription model. So like you can do it cheap or you can do it really expensive. Yeah. But if you're a studio or whatever, if you're a freelancer and you want to be quick, then you're gonna be wanting to pay the big amounts. Yeah. But I don't know, like, you are lucky, because us trying to figure out Octane stuff 2 years ago or whatever, whenever we were doing it, right. Dude, there was nothing out there. Well, now it's like you can kind of figure this stuff out. And actually, I don't know if this was mentioned. I think they mentioned this on the podcast last week, David and Dave. David has put a whole list together of great Octane tutorials that he's been able to find throughout the internet, just on different resources and stuff. I'll see if I can find that, and I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, that'd be great. And that's definitely gonna be something I'm gonna pin to the wall there for later on. But and I think that's like talking about cost. It's gonna be interesting to see how ProRender does, because for a lot of people who are holding out, or I don't know how many people are out there that are just like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait out the render wars and just see who comes ahead, because they might be like me, where they don't really need it in their workflow right now. It'd be fun to play around with, but maybe they're like doing more 2D stuff or whatever, or they don't have the money. Like ProRender is going to be that thing where like they can get into, kind of like physical render, how I still know a bunch of people who are using physical render to try to get that Octane, but it's like that Octane quality, but it's just, I mean, I don't have a year to render this, Yeah, so
See, physical render, like I said, I've mentioned this in a previous podcast. Like, I only started using, or only tried physical render for the first time at NAB.
Oh, really?
Because I moved over straight from standard to V-Ray, then from V-Ray to Octane. Yeah. And it's like I can see someone going from standard render to physical render because they've got that option. Yeah. Because it is like the whole camera system and stuff like that is so similar to like V-Ray, or one of these other ones, not so much like Octane, but because it's much more similar to V-Ray, and you get a super, you get a pretty realistic look. It's just, you're right, the amount of time that you're going to spend on it is different, but still, like, I forgot where I was going with this.
Well, I think, it's kind of like that when you go from standard to physical render, you have to learn all these new concepts and passes and bounces, which translate over. So I think that's good. Like, if you are holding out, and I'm not sure how many non-Octane users are actually listening to this podcast, it's probably all Octane, but for those like 1 or 2 people that are out there that aren't doing it, I think ProRender will help you kind of, if you do want to get Octane down the line, it'll help to introduce all those kind of concepts that you wouldn't know if you were just using standard render or even physical render. Like, physical render introduces a lot of concepts as well. So it'll kind of, you're not wasting your time per se, like learning ProRender if you do ultimately want to go Octane. I think a lot of hopefully a lot of those concepts will translate to how you would think using a third-party render as well. Because, I mean, it is a third-party render. It's just integrated. Yeah.
One thing that I thought was really interesting, and this tweet was so small, and it was just a tiny little, like, blurb about it, But one thing that kind of struck me was that it said that you could see caustics in the viewport, which I thought was super cool because Octane's caustics are terrible.
Oh, really?
Like, if they even happen at all. Like, shooting something through glass and trying to get that cool caustics look, like on a floor or something with glass, it just doesn't happen well in Octane. So, like, I don't know, that kind of struck me because that's one thing
that's coming out.
What? No, that's with the AMD ProRender. That was something that they had mentioned in that little blurb where you could see caustics in the viewport.
That's interesting.
And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see where this goes with it. So, I don't know. What else? Oh, okay. So jumping back to Apple, we won't go too far into it because I'm sure Dave wants to really dig into it.
Yeah.
But they did announce the new iMac Pro,
right?
Which I thought was interesting. It was an 18 core
which
computer.
Is pretty nuts. Yeah.
And that one's supposedly coming out in December, but I was looking online and I can't find a price for it. The 8-core,
the thing.
The 8-core iMac Pro was $5,000,
Yep.
And so if you're looking at an 18-core one, like, it's probably going to be $12,000 to $15,000. Knowing Apple, I would probably say I'll put my money on $12,000 to $15,000.
We're gonna do like prices right. I think I'll go.
Yeah, let's do
under.
it.
I think for the pro market, I just can't see. So, like you said, the Mac Pro was like, to get the 8-core. That's the one I have. That was like around $5,000.
Yeah,
I can't see it being much more than $6,000 for that. And
for
if
the
they,
18?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but
I think
no.
If they price it that high, I think that's just gonna tell
here's
what their
the thing,
market
though.
is, and if it's just a luxury brand or if they actually want to get into the pro market.
Well, here's the thing. If you want to buy a maxed out trash can, that's going to cost you $12,000.
Sure. Sure.
And that's, what, 12 cores, I think?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so 12 core. Now you're looking at an 18 core machine, with every 5K 18 core machine. It as they said, it's their fastest computer ever.
Oh wait, so the 18
the most
core is the maxed out.
Is the maxed out iMac
All
Pro.
Right. So what's did they say what the base model would be?
The base model was going to be $5,000.
And okay.
$5,000 for the 8-core iMac Pro.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
I retract my statement. Yeah, I'll go. You said 12,000?
I said 12 to 15.
12 to 15. Oh no, you gotta pick a number. This is Price is Right.
All right, then I'll say $14,000.
14? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take the under.
Okay.
And we'll come back. We'll win a bag of Cheetos or something.
If I really had to guess, I don't know.
That's high.
14
That's
feels
really
good.
high.
14.
I mean, Mac Pro is one thing, but iMac Pro, and there's still, because they did that announcement, and I remember I was reading that, like, oh, is this their their solution for the Mac Pro. But no, they announced the iMac Pro plans when they were doing those interviews that spread all across the web when they were talking about that new modular Mac Pro system that they're retooling. So that's like a whole another thing that apparently is gonna be announced sometime next year, and then probably won't even release until probably the end of next year. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they do and how they price this iMac Pro. And I don't know, Pro is just it's just a lot of people are like, oh, it's not Pro anymore. It's like it's a marketing term, so get over yourself.
Absolutely.
Like it doesn't mean that they're marketing to you. Like
the one thing that annoyed me, they said that the like you would have to spend $7,000 in order to get the same speed from
a PC.
You would have to spend $7,000 on building a PC to get the same speed as the bottom of the line iMac Pro, the $5,000 one. And I'm like, that is total BS.
Yeah.
Absolute BS, because the computer we bought, even if we were to buy a 4K or a 5K monitor, along with that computer that we built, we only spent $5,000 on it, and it's got 4 1080s inside of it.
See, that's the way Mac or Apple does it. It's like what they said, 7K. Yeah, it'll probably cost $2K to buy the parts in the actual PC, and then the $5K for the actual Apple monitor,
right?
That they're putting into it. That's how they get you.
Yeah, it's so.
They don't
ridiculous.
say that most of the money is because you're buying that Mac display.
Right. I don't know. So all their stuff had AMD graphics cards in it, which which I don't know. I was looking up online and I was like, why isn't Apple going with NVIDIA? Because they used to have some NVIDIA stuff, and I don't know. I read somewhere that they're like, oh well, AMD is like a little bit cleaner when it comes to OpenCL or something like. I don't know, but it seemed to make sense what the Reddit post was talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I can find it.
Because I mean, as far back as I think it was 2015 or 2014. Like I still have my MacBook Pro from back then that has NVIDIA in it.
Yeah.
So
my first MacBook Pro that I had an NVIDIA in it.
Yeah. So I think it was just within the past few years that they switched everything over to AMD and.
Yeah.
Man, they
I think they don't like some of the practices that NVIDIA. I don't know. Anyway, I just Googled it and found the first thing. So if you guys want to look that up, dude, why does Apple hate NVIDIA?
Yeah.
So, new OS, a whole bunch of other stuff with that, but we'll let Dave talk about that.
Yeah.
So this week also was E3. We like to talk about VR and video games and stuff sometimes. So. And we play a lot of Halo. They just announced a new Xbox, the Xbox One X.
Yeah,
lots of X's in there.
Yeah. Then the next one will be Xbox One X1.
Yeah, and the Xbox One XX. Yeah,
it's getting confusing.
Like the old skater girls who would put X's before their names at the end of it. Anyway. So it's the new Xbox is $499. It's from what I've read, it's a custom 8-core AMD processor and a custom GPU with 6 teraflops of GPU power, which is pretty sweet. So I have heard it is one of the most powerful systems that you can buy, the consoles, which is pretty cool. So
and Xbox is the one with a lot of exclusives, right?
I don't know. I think they said there was something like 12 or 20 exclusive games coming out for the Xbox, which seems pretty cool.
Just something I was reading there, like Xbox is killing it, apparently.
Yeah.
I've never owned one, so I still got my Wii U. I'm in Nintendo land, man.
Yeah. I can see you as a Nintendo kind of guy.
Yeah, if you can't tell by my little characters, I'm still in Nintendo land.
So, I didn't see much from Sony. I saw the Xbox One. Also, they were announcing a lot of backwards compatibility with the original Xbox or something.
Oh, wow.
To where, like, I think they're probably going to make it to where you can buy a lot of the games online and stuff like that, making more of those games available, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, nice.
And then Nintendo announced a whole slew of new games and stuff, which is pretty cool. They announced a new Metroid game is coming out,
Sweet.
which is really awesome. I really enjoyed the whole Metroid franchise and stuff. And then there's also a new Mario game, which is weird that
Is that the creepy one where he's like in a real city with big people, like realistic people?
Yeah, and he's like throwing his hat on people and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's
like
two
Grand
separate
Theft
games
Auto
coming out
with Mario running through it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like it seems pretty cool. The one I was most excited about, they announced a new Pokemon RPG game.
Pokemon?
Like, I'm a big I'm a big fan of Pokemon.
Okay,
you know, I like them on
Pokemon
the
Go and all that junk.
Actually, my wife plays it way more than I do.
Really?
Yeah, she does really well. Dude, we got a Ditto while we were in Disney World.
That's
I was like,
awesome.
oh my gosh. Well, my kid caught it. He caught a Rattata,
Yeah.
and it turned out that it turned into a Ditto. And I was like,
Sweet.
oh, that's so rad.
Nice.
Anyway, but a new Pokemon game specifically coming straight to the Switch, which is cool. Very cool.
Let's see, Kirby. There's a new Kirby game, which is it's a co-op Kirby game. That
That's
was
cool.
announced. And a new Yoshi game that is a side-scrolling game, which side-scrollers are my jam. Like, I don't need...
Yeah.
Although, I will say, I believe it was the latest 3D Mario... which one was it? I forget what it was called. But it's the one where you got to turn into cats and climb walls and stuff like that. And I would say it was like Mario Sunshine, only like the next version of Mario Sunshine, where you could run around in 3D and go all over the place, kind of like Mario 64, where you have this wide open world. I would say that was the coolest, most creative use of like a full 3D space and the levels. Just the level design was amazing, and it was one of those things where you're like, this is why I absolutely love Nintendo. Just the creative, just all the effort they put into one game level that is just one single level, and you never see that concept or anything again in that whole entire game. It's just really really cool and interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Nintendo does a really good job with their games.
It's just I'm not sure how many people are, playing a Switch out in a park or something like that, but I'm sure they do.
Yeah. Other news, After Effects had an update yesterday. And the biggest thing on that is that they fixed the cached preview needs 2 or more frames to play back.
Yay.
Thank goodness. So I've been dealing with that for probably like 2 years.
Yeah.
What that would be. So anyway, they've also made importing Illustrator and PDF files 3 to 4 times faster, and there's a whole bunch of bug fixes. It's one of those things where you can't use. I would say this is probably the update that you should update to specifically, because when they do the initial update, and like it just is super buggy and doesn't work for you, and then you got to wait for that big update. I think this is the big update. Now, don't quote me on it because I haven't actually used it yet or updated. So, but yeah, I think that's probably the actual good update. So, let's see. We're not going to do any topics because we just talked so much. Yeah. Went through Ravcock. One last thing. The Pixel Lab. They just released this new Pixel Dirt Rig for Octane, and so if you're an Octane person and if you just go check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes. It is really rad. It is super super rad, and we've been talking with the Pixel Lab actually, and we're gonna start selling this Pixel Dirt Rig on our site as well,
Awesome.
Which is super cool. So, but yeah, check it out. Here, probably coming in the next week or so. You could probably pick that up on our site as well. But it's really simple, like, sliders and checkbox buttons, and you can create, really cool dirt on your stuff and really cool like grungy looks, and also throw some stickers on there and make the stickers look grungy and stuff. It's very, very cool. So yeah. And then you just released the new, you mentioned this, but you just released the David Ariew tutorial in Octane.
Yes.
What's this one going over?
Another David Ariew Octane knowledge bomb. This one, he breaks down a project that I think you worked on with the bleep render guy, the F render
right
guy. Yeah, I think that's him. I apologize. I love his work. I forget his name, but he has an awesome Instagram name. It's like everyone who does awesome Octane renders is like hood ass. Like everything has some kind of expletive in it. Like David needs to change his his thing to like David else. Shithead or something like that, or like shithead renders, or just to fit in with that whole Octane crowd with the expletives.
Yeah. From what I've heard, the guy with the F render or whatever, I want to say someone was talking to him and was like, "Oh yeah, you're F render," and he goes, and he kind of like, he doesn't like to say it, but I think it's funny that he just asked.
He's like a super Christian religious guy. He's like, we don't say that word around here. It's actually FVCK, so...
Right, FVCK.
Yeah, in Swedish, it's Fjörgen.
Fjörgen render.
Yeah, Fjörgen render.
That's funny. So, so that's exciting.
So, yeah, tutorial. It was a project he worked on with him for some European DJ, I believe, and they created this whole really cool futuristic city, and they used the Octane scatter, which is... the cloner object, only 5 million times better, and then some volumetrics to get some really kind of moody, dramatic lighting and fog and clouds.
If you're looking for good, like he was telling us the other day, he's like, dude, I figured out volumetrics. I figured out environment stuff. So if you're looking to like really, and I haven't watched it, so I can't quote it, but you can quote me on it. That he said he's got this stuff figured out. So if you want to learn about some of this environment fog and stuff like that, I would say watch this tutorial.
And he even talks about how he used Luminous for some of his stuff as well. And we got a little discount code for all the people who watch the tutorial. So be sure to head on over to youtube.com/Eyedesyn, check out the tutorial, and you can get all that sweet Octane knowledge bombs from David.
Cool. All right, cool. So I guess that's all we got. As you got to get out of here, you got some meetings you got to go to.
Yeah,
And my kid is crying terribly, as you could hear in the background.
Well, my dog was about to demolish some UPS driver, so calm him down.
Cool. Well, okay, you can rate us on iTunes, leave us a review. We really like getting those ratings. We had the competition that we were running last week, or last month, and maybe the month before, and then we're gonna do that drawing next week once me and Dave are finally back, together again. Yeah. And also subscribe to us. You can subscribe to us on YouTube or your podcaster of choice. We just sent out a newsletter. If you got it, sweet. If not, so you can sign up for our newsletter. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the no Brograph, no Mograph t-shirt. Also, we've got the Paul Babb 2020 shirt. You can lend your support to the greatest CEO of all time.
Feel the Bab.
Yep. Hashtag Feel the Bab, yeah. All the profits go to Doctors Without Borders. And then we've also got the limited edition Gaten DeSimone Brograph shirt. And we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube and Brograph.com. And EJ, where can they find you?
You can find me on the interwebs on Eyedesyn.com, EYEDSYN. On Instagram, same thing. Twitter, same thing. I'm Eyedesyn everywhere. So if you just Google EYEDSYN, you'll find me in all my shenanigans. And my new sumo character that I turned my little monkey, my rubber hose monkey, into a sumo. Big fat sumo guy.
I saw that. That looks cool.
See all that stuff too.
Very, very cool. Awesome. Okay, cool.
Good
Well,
hanging
we're
out.
out here.
Good talking about this podcast went a little rough at the end with the whole root canal. I thought this podcast was going to be a root canal, but it ended up turning out to be a giant lollipop of fun that you should probably brush your teeth after you enjoy.
Straight up.
Yes.
Straight up. Oh, I forgot to tell you, to top it all off, it rained the entire time we were in Disney World.
Oh.
It was awful.
Well,
It
at
was
least
so
you got
bad.
the Disney poncho for $50.
Oh my gosh. It literally was $10. $10 and then $9 for a child.
Ooh.
And then they break so easily. It's like...
It's like the thinnest plastic bag you could ever find.
I know, right?
And it's just got
It was
Mickey
miserable.
Mouse on it.
The first day we're there, it's like raining and my kid's wanting to watch the fireworks, so I'm holding him and I wear glasses, so it's like water is everywhere. I literally can't see a thing. And then we're leaving and he's like, no, I want to stay. I'm like, dude, I am soaking wet right now. There ain't no way we're staying. Anyway.
Yeah, you lucked out.
All right, cool. Well, until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm EJ.
And we'll see you next time. Normally I'm the later bros guy, so I don't know. We'll see you
Later,
next time.
Bros. Meet me.
It's pretty good, I guess. Brograph.com, an online resource for learning critical components of Cinema 4D and After Effects, specifically catered to help you prevail as a motion graphic designer.
What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph motion graphics tutorial.
We give you professional time-saving tips, shortcuts, and lessons that help give you an edge over your fellow designers. Not only this, but our new Brograph Talks help you in your file management, hardware configuration, and client relations.
I love projects that scare me. When our art director comes to us and asks for something that I had never done before, man, it gets me pumped.
Join us for live sessions, check out our crazy Cinema 4D experiments, or just watch our Fun with Brograph series, where we show you practical applications for techniques learned in previous tutorials. Do this from the beginning, and your client is going to respect that, and they're going to respect you, and they're going to respect your time. Subscribe today and get automatic updates on the latest tutorials, tricks, tips, and inspiration brought to you by industry professionals Dave Koss and Matt Milstead, all with a slight dash of dry humor peppered in. Real nice banana.
Brograph.com, your source for tutorials that will help you thrive in the motion graphics industry. Don't just play around with Cinema 4D and After Effects, master it, and make money by becoming indispensable at your workplace.
We don't care how you get here, folks. Just get here. Subscribe now to Brograph Tutorials. It's pretty good, I guess.